Welcome to match 2 of week 1. We have the Sinister Sinastchas versus the Lander Dating Simulator. So, when I'm looking at this matchup, I'm seeing that I feel like this is a lot about positioning here. I feel like a lot of these mons are good in some spots, but not so great in other spots. There's, for example, the Ursaluna, it can threaten a lot of things, but the Ferrothorn is actually a mon that can reasonably take a guts boosted normal type attack and still not get blown up by like the ground type move because it's just so physically bulky. And then you look at something like the Primarina, and that's good against some mons, but bad against the others. It feels really good against the Weavile, the Ursaluna, and this is Thunderous, but doesn't feel good against the Sinastchas or the Basque Legion here. I do think if there's one mon on at least on the Landorus Dating Simulator side that has a chance to really shine, I do think it's the Marshadow here. It is faster than all of the mons in the field besides speed boosting, gouging fire, and a speed tie with Weavile, but its fighting Ghost Stab is really threatens to maybe not Oko, but do big damage to at least 4 of the mons, being the Ursaluna, the Weavile, the Basque Legion, and the Sinastchas. And let's see, for the other side, I do think that this is going to be interesting seeing how forms of speed control are going to be used in this matchup, because the Sinastchas can do Trick Room. Is it going to be that angle? Is it going to be using the gouging fire with its speed booster to overwhelm? Or is it going to be like, oh, I'm going to click Prankster Thunderwave on a bunch of stuff and just, try to shut you down as much as possible? So I do think being able to stop the speed control is also going to be pretty big here. And I wouldn't be surprised if I see a Sinister lead to try to get the Trick Room up as quickly as possible, start trading, and then leave the Basque Legion in the back to clean up with like Choice Scarf, something like Choice Scarf Last Respect or something. So it's going to be interesting to see how the leads really turn up here. So I wouldn't mind just getting the Marshadow out as quickly as possible to start farming as much value quickly here. So let's get this match started. And this is not what the leads were expecting at all here. But this is the Thunderous is in a really bad spot here. You can't Thunderwave either of these mons. They also either resist or are immune to electric entirely. So this Thunderous, I have to imagine, is going to try to get out of here as quickly as possible. And I'm kind of shocked to see the Basque Legion in lead here. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, because I just expected it just to stay healthy, just for it to try to clean up in the end game here. But and then this Landorus, but this might just be a disc quick lead where you just keep on clicking Earthquake and Discharge, and the best response to that would definitely be a Sinistcha. Is tanky enough to be able to take both of them, and I don't think none of the other mons feel particularly great into Disquake right now. Weavile is so frail that like the 2 neutral spread damage is gonna do so much, and it might just die. And if not, you got a 30% chance of getting paralyzed. Gouging Fire is weak to ground. The Ursaluna could take it fairly well, just how bulky it is. It is immune to Discharge and resists Earthquake. I'm not resist, but it's bulky enough to tank an Earthquake. But take you damage in Ursaluna, and then you start getting your own burn chip. It is just kind of awkward here. So I do expect some pivoting on this part, because this just does not look very favorable for the Sinister Sinastchas here. Okay, it ended up not actually being Disquake at all, and we do see a lot of pivoting here, and because of the slower, this was was just 3 months clicking a pivoting move. I just want to make sure I'm correct on that. Flip turn, Volt Switch. That's kind of crazy, honestly. But yeah, that's the benefit of slow pivoting here. It's like, okay, I Volt Switch into the into the Ferrothorn, expecting an Ursaluna here. And Ferrothorn is usually a mon that's pretty good, would seem like in a pretty good spot here. But because of the slower pivoting, he got the Gouging Fire in a safe spot here, where it could threaten to just blow up the Ferrothorn here. And now we have and you also have the Ursaluna out safely with the Guts boost, and this has become a nightmare really quickly, which I thought was a pretty decent looking lead at least. And at least the good news here is that you can get the double Intimidate proc with sending the Landorus back in with the 2 physical attackers. But man, even taking a -1 Guts boosted Facade from Ursaluna still hurts like hell, man. And especially if this, like, I don't know if this Gouging Fire is clicking Howl here or just trying to go for the kill on the Ferrothorn, but man, this could get really shaky real fast. Okay, so we do see the Howl shenanigans already, and we still see the Guts boosted Facade here. And it seems like she was just okay taking the chip here to put the Gouging Fire in range of the next attack and just sacking the Electivire, which I don't mind, truthfully. You're kind of in a bad spot, and I don't think Electivire was like one of your more important mons here. And you were able to get the Landorus in safely. You're going to be able to knock both these to neutral attack, and then the Pram, which should be faster than Ursaluna, get threatened to do big damage to the Ursaluna here. Maybe not necessarily KO it, which is how bulky Ursaluna is, but if this is like Specs Pram or something like that, and you just Specs Land Hydro Pump, maybe it probably gets there. And then the Landorus also being faster than Ursaluna here. Maybe if you can, maybe you just tank like an Earthquake on your Pram, and then you just like Earthquake Hydro Pump here, like Earthquake Water type move here. And there's just not anything that's that great in switching to both of that. Sinister can do that fairly well, but taking any double up is just, it is a lot of damage because these mons hit hard. So, and then at the very least, if like you make the Gouging Fire switch out or something like that, you take away the speed booster here, and the Ursaluna, which switches out, then it is kind of a pain in the butt to get it in safely again at this point. And there seems to be and man, I forgot about Burning Bulwark as a concept. That is such a messed up move. A Protect, I know it doesn't work on status moves, but just a Protect that can burn you is actually so unethical. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. And that is a hard-hitting Ice Beam right there. Ice Beam, probably to try to... it's a decent mid-ground here, I will say. It does better against Sinastchas. It also would have done super effective damage against the Thunderous. So I really respect the Ice Beam here. And that would have... Obviously, if you even have Earthquake, that would have been another side benefit of the Earthquake, is that it would not have triggered Burning Bulwark because it is not a contact move. So yeah, now this Landorus has become way less of a threat here, and now it's probably just going to be used as a sack or to pivot in, intimidates, and stuff like that. But because the first Stomping Tantrum failed, the second one will basically do the same power as the first one because the double power and the burn does cancel it out here. So it's not the worst thing ever. And seeing that the Stopping Tantrum would have had double power, we're just going to switch back into Thunderous here. Thunderous also does threaten good damage into the Primarina, so definitely makes a lot of sense here. And thanks to the chip, the chip on the Machagacha, you are able to survive another Ice Beam here, and now the Primarina is kind of in no man's land here. Maybe you can KO it even a burned knockoff probably still does 15%, I would think. And then maybe you can get like something like the Sandaconda here, which would be able to what's it called? To be able to eat an electric type move for free because of its ground typing, but that doesn't work out. And then like, okay, the Sandaconda comes in, and then it's a free pivot to either Weavile and Basculegion. Like, that doesn't feel great either, so it's just, and the Sandaconda is just slower than both of them. Unless it's some crazy sets that I'm not aware of. Oh my gosh, we got the freeze. Okay. So that does definitely change things here, where, you know, maybe you want to ignore that slot for a little bit, and maybe you can give yourself a chance to try to, can't really even bully the Thunderous slot that well, just on the fact that, what are you gonna do? You can't click ground moves, your stab moves, and you're gonna die to a T-Bolt probably, so how do you get ahead of this? Okay, we're able to pick off this Sinister with an Ice Beam here. The Primarina able to take a Volt Switch fairly well, making me think this is some sort of Assault Vest set. So you were able to get a Mon down, but it was the Mon that was frozen, so that's definitely kind of unfortunate here. But if you're able to somehow take out the Basculegion with keeping your Sandaconda safe, you might be in the Sandaconda might be in, well, no, there's also the Weavile. This is definitely awkward. This is just definitely super awkward here. Do bring the Weavile, which puts on more pressure on the Sandaconda. Makes me think that the Basculegion's attacking the Primarina, and the Weavile is just attacking the Sandaconda here. And what do you really do against that? Probably get the Ferrothorn in, I'd think. Get the Ferrothorn in the, I would probably put the Ferrothorn in the Sandaconda slot and try to damage this Weavile with like a Moonblast or something. I think that's a pretty decent thing to do here. You know, Ferrothorn is also if this Weavile Sash or something, and like it clicks like, let's say a triple Axle into the Ferrothorn, you are doing a lot of self damage. Or if this Basculegion does something like Flip Turn, it's just yeah, I think the Ferrothorn is in a pretty good spot here, but I wouldn't be surprised. You also have to just try to get ahead of the potential like pivoting into the Gouging Fire, and then your Ferrothorn's in a horrible spot again. I'm gonna be real, I had no idea Weavile had Fake Out. And I didn't know this was an ability. What in the world is Sand Spit? I mean, I could figure it out what it does by using context clues saying, hey, if you get hit by a move, you get Sand Up. Yeah. And seeing how well it was taking Thunderbolts, I think he made the assumption that it was in fact Assault Vest, so he just went for the Fake Out because that's safe. And even that Flip Turn, man, Syndicon is pretty physically bulky, but adaptability Flip Turn just still hits so hard. And this might be a time where you just have to sack the Prim here. I don't think it's doing anything else the rest of this game. I mean, if you could somehow get it back out in a spot against the Ursaluna, it could outspeed that. But like, how are you gonna really do that here? Because you're gonna have to switch it out because it's gonna take Sand Chip, and then what's really switching in here that you're okay just taking hit? Maybe Landorus is not as valuable because of the burn, but I'd still want the Intimidate, and it's still healthy enough, so it's not completely, or it still definitely has some uses here. But yeah, it's just This just seems like an ice move plus electric move is just in a very good spot just to take out both of these mons. And I mean, you don't even have to click ice move. It's probably just better to click a knockoff here. Does a, you know, it does better. You can roof Ferrothorn's item and stuff like that, because I don't expect the Landers to go into Sandaconda slot. And again, if your ice move is a triple axle, you are taking a lot of self damage with the iron barb, so you probably don't want to do that. Probably you're gonna knock yourself out. But no, the ice move of choice is the ice crash. Also makes sense. Definitely better. Doesn't make contact, so it's definitely better against iron barbs here. Basque Legion gets sent in, and we're just gonna probably just see more choice band flip turns here. I'm not choice band adaptability flip turns here, which I'm guessing is this choice scarf. I'm gonna guess this is choice scarf, and this is where and what are the two mons you send in now? They're just kind of like running out of stuff here. The Ferrothorn is in like a fairly close spot into being a good spot, but the Gouging Fire is just still way too healthy. Yeah, getting the Intimidate off makes sense. Maybe you can like get a Protect correctly, where you like you protect the if you have Protect, you protect Landorus, and then you can take out the Basque Legion with some type of grass type move, and the Weavile doesn't do that much damage. -1 Weavile doesn't do that much damage to something as bulky as Ferrothorn here. And I think, but does the Landorus actually have Protect on it, or is it some type of like other set where it's like, I don't know. I don't remember when it's got hit by like Assault Vest. I don't think it's Assault Vest, but like some like choice move or something like that. Okay. We're actually just going for Rock Slide here, and we can see that the Basque Legion is actually slower than Landorus here, being able to get flinched here, and getting the rock. Unfortunately, you got the rocks out at the exact turn that the Thunderous switched in, so you're not going to get that rock ship damage on the Thunderous. But the rocks here actually are still pretty good. They disincentivize things like the pivoting with the flip turn. They do super effective do a lot to Gouging Fire, and they just flat out KO's Weavile. So these rocks, even though they're a little late, they do have a lot of value here. The only thing that's like it's not that great against us is the Ursaluna, but hey, you still do have the Marshadow in the back, so maybe you can just slowly chip everything down here and putting yourself in a spot to put yourself in a 1v1, and that flinch definitely keeps the Landorus Therian safe for at least one more turn to maybe even just get some Rock Slide chip on the Thunderous, maybe even scam another flinch here, and then you get another flinch. Then that plus the sand might be able enough to just like slowly chip it down enough to where you can just kind of idle your way into accidentally killing this mon. So definitely just got a lot tighter because of that flinch, and the Stealth Rock just kind of pseudo taking out a mon and a half the next time it switches in. And this Thunderous is a Thunderous. I'm surprised the Thunderous I mean, I guess you were trying to not get ground type move, but the Thunderous is not, at least not obviously in a good spot, but maybe it has some type of maybe it has hidden power fire here. And another Rock Slide flinch. And the power whip does connect. And that means the next turn the Thunderous is gonna go down. And this Thunderous just not in a spot that's able to take out either the Landorus or the Ferrothorn here, clearly, because the only reason you're clicking T-Wave here is to just try to skim paralysis turns, but instead you're the one losing turns because you've gotten frozen and flinched twice here. And what's the mon that gets brought out now? Probably, is it Gouging Fire? I mean, Gouging Fire Does it die? It probably dies to even a burned Stomping Tantrum here. Like, that doesn't feel good. The Weavile just dies. So, is does it have to be Ursaluna here? It might have to be. Yeah, it is going to be the Ursaluna here. And if you have double protect here, I mean, maybe I don't think protecting is actually good here. The Ursaluna might have a Fire Punch, which is why that's the only thing I'm a little worried about. So, like, that is definitely a game that you have to go through of, like, what moves does this Ursaluna have? I'm guessing it has Facade, has Protect, has some type of ground move. What's its fourth move? Is it another ground type move, or is it Fire Punch? And because let's say you protect the Ferrothorn, and, like, the Thunderous goes down, like, that's not that great either. Because now you're going against Gouging Fire, which definitely has a Fire type move here, so definitely a bit awkward here. But maybe there's a way you can like get ahead. No, I think if you get Fire Punch, I think you just say you're crap out of blocking and just try to get your damage on the Ursaluna and hope the rest of the field can clean it up with, like, the Marsh Shadow essentially can clean up the rest, which I think it could. If that's something like Drain Punch to heal itself back up, and it would be faster than everything here. Okay. Yeah, just sacking the Thunder, the Thunderous here makes a lot of sense. It wasn't doing anything useful here, and it was just leaving the Ursaluna exposed potential double up, so very good call here. And it's gonna be a Landorus, a burned Landorus, a paralyzed Ferrothorn, and a low Gouging Fire again. And yeah, it's just like, let's see who can win basically the 3v2 at this point. We're gonna have to there's gonna have to be some calls here. It's just like, what are the moves on the Ferrothorn? If it has Protect, I mean, like, if you Heat Crash the Ferrothorn, you're taking a lot of self damage, and if the item is Rocky Helmet and you do that, you knock yourself out, and Ursaluna probably isn't winning against the Marsh Shadow here, because it's just taking, even though Ursaluna's so bulky, it's taking some decent chip from the Flame Orb and the rocks. This is definitely a very tight end game here. Oh my gosh, it's another Rock Slide flinch. That's the third Rock Slide flinch here. And now that the Burning Bulwark just was just used and got nothing, and the Power Whip connects, that is so much extra damage. And now you can just double in onto this Gouging Fire. If you just Stomping Tantrum the Gouging Fire and that KOs, I think that's just game here. Unless, like, because even if the Gouging Fire takes out the, I guess it's, I think that would be game, because, like, there's no way you're gonna be able to, like, you need such specific moves, like, okay, like, you KO the, because how are you gonna KO the Ferrothorn without KOing yourself with the Ursaluna? And, like, okay, you can maybe the Gouging Fire is faster, kills the Landorus, and then you do what? I guess then you're in Protect Mind games, but again, you're self-chipping yourself, so you're kind of in a slowly losing battle. Okay, another Rock Slide. I think this is choice. Rock Slide does not KO. And it's another flinch. It's another flinch. And now this Ursaluna's just on too short of a timer to, I think, get there. Another Rock Slide double connect. Yeah, that's going to be game. The full paralysis doesn't matter here, because the Weavile's going to just get taken out to Stealth Rocks. And, you know, that's a crazy game. You know, the Landorus dating simulator, clearly she 100%ed, because that Landorus clearly loves Fallon here. That is a big win, man. But You know, you got to play to your outs. That's what this game is. I felt her overall game plan was fairly solid here. The mid game rocks came in huge. I think that was besides the rock side flinches. I do think that was definitely a big part of the turning point where the Weavile, which might have been able to clean up on the end game on these mons and just get some big final damage, wasn't able to do that. The Thunderous had no choice but to basically sack itself. It didn't have a chance to maybe reposition itself in a better situation. Like, oh, maybe the Thunderous can do some good damage on the Marshadow. And again, the Gouging Fire, man. It did 25% to Gouging Fire, and it just got slowly chipped down by Rockside flinches. I'm thinking that this Landorus must have been scarfed, seeing all the Rockside, only Rockside being clicked, because you would have to imagine that you just don't want to click Stomping Tantrum there, but you know what? Go my rocks, they say. And that's going to do it for me. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.